Please welcome tonight's Advocacy Awards chair, Cedric Grant.
Good evening. Good evening. If we can take our seats, that would be great. Wow, what a beautiful crowd. Wonderful crowd. This is exciting. Good evening. It's an honor to chair tonight's Advocacy Awards to celebrate Easterseals' life-changing impact right here in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and to raise the funds needed to support that vital mission. I begin tonight by asking you to turn your attention to the video screens for a special message from President George W. Bush.
Welcome to the 2024 Easterseals Advocacy Awards Dinner. I'm pleased to join you in congratulating this year's honorees, including my friend Candy Wolf. Candy was an important member of my team at the White House. She has a remarkable ability to track multiple issues and stay ahead of them. And as Senator Collins will tell you, she's a tough but friendly negotiator. Candy's compassion for others is no secret, and I'm proud she's being recognized by Easterseals. I thank Candy and everyone involved with the organization for your work to help people realize their full potential and lead lives of dignity and value. Keep up the good work and have a wonderful evening.
President Bush said it beautifully when he shared the importance of helping everyone live a life of dignity and value. That's why we're all here tonight. It's not just to have an amazing meal created by Chef Robert Irvine from Easterseals DC, Maryland, Virginia Honorary Board, even though that's a good reason to gather. And speaking of that, I want you to be able to concentrate on tonight's program, not dreaming of the delicious food. So please begin and enjoy your salad. Throughout tonight, we'll hear stories about the good Easterseals does at every stage of life to include individuals, empower families, and strengthen communities. You'll understand why the spouse of a wounded warrior with 5 children shared, "Of all the organizations, Easterseals stuck by my family. I don't know where I'd be without Easterseals." You'll see how that fits in with my personal story, why I am proud to serve on the board of Easterseals, raising funds and volunteering. I helped care for both my parents when they had cancer, so I know how important Easterseals adult day services are, not only for the participants, but also for the caregivers who receive necessary respite. My mom was a public school teacher, so I also have a passion for the early education Easterseals provides. I have a daughter, and I know that all parents want to give their children every opportunity to thrive, and Easterseals makes that happen. We know that's true because we hear it from parents. We recently heard from a mom whose daughter graduated from an Easterseals Child Development Center last spring. At the first parent-teacher conference, the kindergarten teacher asked, "Where did she go to preschool?" She is clearly well prepared for kindergarten. Now that's setting a child up for a lifetime of success. It's a special honor to serve as chair tonight since it is the 20th anniversary of this wonderful event. I know my board colleague, Dave Hoppy, was one of the founding chairs of the Advocacy Awards, and I'd love it if Dan and everyone and anyone who was at that very first luncheon could stand and be recognized. From that initial event, which raised $125,000 with 150 people in attendance, we've grown to tonight's goal of raising over $1 million. And I am so pleased to have over 500 people here tonight to share in our mission. Our Advocacy Awards celebration has expanded over the past 20 years. It has enabled the growth of Easterseals' impact on individuals, families, and communities throughout DC, Maryland, and Virginia. When this event was still in its infancy, Easterseals operated 2 adult day centers and 3 child development centers. Today, the doors are open at 10 centers for adults and children, as well as groundbreaking programs for the military community. This growth, yeah, that was an applause line. This growth is not only an expansion of services and a broadening of partnerships, it also represents a compounding of Easterseals' work over the past 2 decades. Every day, Easterseals is including individuals who would otherwise be isolated. We're empowering families who are navigating devastating news about their loved one. And Easterseals is strengthening communities by bringing hope, healing, and opportunity to anyone who knocks on our doors. Many of you, like me, are here at a table sponsored by your company. I imagine some of you have minimal knowledge of this organization's incredible services and impact. I hope as you learn more about Easterseals, you'll find your own connection with us and get involved, as I did when I learned about Easterseals. We have an easy way for you to donate by either scanning the QR code in your program or by filling in the fund need at the tables. So be generous. You'll hear about the Fund the Need campaign all throughout the evening, and it's really easy right at your table. The link and card also have a checkbox, so you can become involved as a volunteer as well. The investment of time and energy is just as important as resources. Because I'm here as a corporate guest, I'm going to get us started by making my personal gift of $3,000. I hope you will join me at whatever level you can to help us reach that $1 million goal. We're on our way, but we need your help to fund the need. Can I hear it? We're on our way. Say, we're on our way. Say, we're on our way. All right. So we're on our way, but we need your help to get to that $1 million goal, and I believe we can do it tonight. Of course, this evening's Advocacy Awards are possible thanks to the incredible leadership of tonight's award recipients and the generosity of our sponsors. We are especially grateful to our presenting sponsor, HII, our inspiration sponsor, Citi, and our independent sponsors, AMI, Booz Allen, Delta, General Dynamics, Google, Greenberg Traurig, Humana, Meta, and Northrop Grumman. Give all of our sponsors a round of applause. Easterseals is also indebted to all of our additional sponsors, which are listed in tonight's program and in the dinner slides. Thank you all, and thank you for being here and for your support. Let's empower families, more families, to be able to say, I don't know where I'd be without Easterseals. Thank you.
Christopher didn't crawl until he was 2. He didn't walk until he was almost 4. He didn't eat until he was 5. He had tubes down his nose, tubes into his belly. We didn't know how difficult it was going to be.
I grieved. I grieved a lot over it. I shed a lot of tears those first few months, thinking about what wouldn't be.
It was tough. And on top of that, to have the other children. But to have Easterseals to help us through all those challenges, it was extremely reassuring.
Good evening. I'm John Horwich, the President and CEO of Easterseals DC, Maryland, Virginia. Oh, wow. All I had to do was show up? Thank you. I am really deeply grateful to all of you for joining us tonight, and especially to our sponsors for their support. Without all of you, we could not deliver for our community every day. I always love the Advocacy Awards because to me, they're a powerful reminder that each of us has the capacity to make a difference for the community. While this is the 20th anniversary of Easterseals Advocacy Awards, Easterseals itself goes back over 100 years. In 1919, our founder, Edgar Allan, was inspired to bring children with disabilities out from the shadows. He acted to make a difference. He founded an organization that is still innovating to make our community more inclusive. With their actions every day, our incredible board of directors and emeritus board really make a difference. And I'm hoping that the emeritus board and board can all stand up and be recognized because you guys are incredible. These volunteers give of themselves in so many ways to make Easterseals stronger and to meet our community's growing needs. I also want to thank and celebrate the actions every day of our honorary board and ambassador committee. These community leaders really reach out to ensure that people who need our services are aware of them, that people don't feel stigmatized for seeking support, and rather understand that support actually makes you stronger and enables you to thrive and be a part of the community. And they also help us innovate to meet emerging needs because they're out speaking to the communities every day and really sharing what they learn. So can our honorary board and ambassador committee please stand up to be thanked? Oh, come on, there's more of you than that. Don't be shy. And of course, with their actions every day, tonight's Advocacy Award recipients and those of past years have demonstrated that, as General Brown Jr. reminded us last year, with great power comes great responsibility. They take their responsibility to heart and have improved the community for veterans and military families, people with disabilities, and people from low-income families. So I'm hoping all of the previous award recipients can stand up and be recognized. We're really excited to have so many back for the 20th anniversary. And of course, I have to really celebrate our staff, because with their actions every day, they are the ones who are really making sure that we live our vision of creating a hopeful, inclusive community where all individuals realize their potential and live meaningful lives. Can all our staff here tonight please stand up to be recognized? For those of you who visited our centers, I'm sure you've seen that we really do have an awesome team. And honestly, it's hard to pick just a few to highlight here tonight for our Leadership Award presentation. That said, we had over 30 nominations from the team for the Leadership Award, which is our highest honor for employee recognition. It honors a team member who's gone above and beyond to enhance the impact of Easterseals. Each of our Leadership Award finalists show how every individual can make a difference. And so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about our 5 finalists, who are Heather Ballantyne. She is an intake coordinator at the Stephen A. Cohen Military Family Clinic at Easterseals. And Heather is the first point of contact for many of the clients who reach out to us. And when someone's making a difficult call, it's important that they feel welcomed and embraced. And Heather really does that. And she uses those same skills with her colleagues to help ensure that the Cohen Clinic runs smoothly and meets client needs. Hannah Brous is our speech-language pathologist in our early intervention program. Hannah is known for showing bravery, cultural humility, and empathy during crucial conversations, as well as for their innovative therapeutic approaches. And Hannah's work doesn't stop just there. She's always willing to go the extra mile to support the team. So for example, when our Head Start teachers were really looking for some additional support to ensure that they could deal with challenging behaviors in the classroom, Hannah created an opportunity and tailored an early intervention program to their needs. And when asked about the results, 100% of the teachers said that because of Hannah's support, they felt more committed and confident in their skills. So Johnny Chang is a driver for the Morris and Gwendolyn K. Fritz Adult Day Services in Silver Spring. And really, he's more than just a driver. He is completely committed to the safety of everyone in his charge every day, and really making them feel welcome as he greets them each day and loved as they say goodbye at the end of the day. And I'll share a quick story. Recently, when a passenger on his bus experienced a seizure, Johnny leapt in with exemplary poise and courage, and he followed the emergency protocols perfectly, calmly called the center to alert the nurse, and I'm pleased to report that fortunately everything turned out fine, thanks to Johnny. And Fabiola Fuentes is an administrative assistant at the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Child Development Center in DC. And she's been awesome because one of the things that we really work on at Easterseals is having people be able to have career development and growth. And she's really done a great job demonstrating that through her work and initiative. She's currently working to earn an associate's degree in early education, and she just has this amazing can-do attitude to really help with the center's bilingual community outreach, and just brings a wealth of love to the center. And it's really special to me to be able to end with Michelle Peters, because a lot of times people think of Easterseals as just all our centers, and of course, delivering services is the core of our work. But it's also important to have a smooth back office. And Michelle is an accounting operations specialist and is really an incredible customer service-oriented team member. She's collaborative with everybody, and she makes sure not just that the bills are paid on time so that the lights stay on, but also that no bills are incorrect. And many of you know, I always joke I can pinch a penny till it screams, but Michelle can pinch a penny till it cries. So thank you, Michelle. So our 2024 Leadership Award recipient is Johnny Chang. So Johnny, if you can please join me on stage. And I have to share, actually many of you who might have visited, if you see the picture that's about to come up on here, who have visited the center have met our ambassador, Penny Scatino. But Penny was one of the people on the van the day that there was a seizure, and thank you, Johnny, congratulations. She shared how incredible Johnny was, so thank you. Make sure we got a good picture, all right. And oh, we're doing another. Lots of pictures. Yeah. Thank you, thank you.
His manhood and his integrity, and when that's challenged or jeopardized, I was in the Army from '96 to '99, and then from 2008 to just recently. I got a traumatic brain injury. I ended up in a PTSD unit for 6 weeks. I had no idea that being injured was going to have such an effect on my life. I'd had to think what would happen if Easterseals hadn't jumped in. But the reality of it is, most likely probably would have been living on the streets. It's an incredible feeling. It's an incredible feeling to be able to look at my family and with confidence, and them actually see the confidence in me and know that everything's going to be okay.
Please welcome tonight's Advocacy Awards honorary chairs, Mrs. Molly Raymond and General Jay Raymond.
Jay and I have been involved with Easterseals for many years and understand its profound, meaningful commitment to veterans. But now that we have transitioned to civilian life, I think we appreciate that commitment on an even deeper level. Serving veterans and military families ensures they are included, that they and their families are empowered, and that our local community is strengthened. From the Little Warriors program that provides scholarships to young children of wounded warriors, to mental health services for dependents through Easterseals' partnership with the Cohen Veterans Network, to respite care for exceptional family member program families, we are indebted to Easterseals for including us in their mission.
Easterseals offers programs that are important to all citizens, but are absolutely critical to military families who move frequently, deploy often, and constantly struggle to have continuity of care for their loved ones. What really helps with these challenges is when community partners like Easterseals opens their doors and put out the welcome mat. So many families are forever grateful to Easterseals, like the spouse of a Navy veteran who had died suddenly. She recently wrote to Easterseals after finding a job through the Veterans Staffing Network, calling the support for her family invaluable and saying, quote, "I don't think I would have landed this position without the help I received. There aren't words to describe how much I appreciate all their help," end quote. The leadership and focus of the United States Department of Veterans Affairs on these efforts is also extraordinary, starting, as Easterseals does, with person-centered care focused on the needs of each individual. The new VA mission statement to fulfill President Lincoln's promise to care for those who have served in our nation's military and for their families, caregivers, and survivors reflects that commitment. It is a powerful reminder that the VA is committed to ensuring that, in the words of Secretary McDonough, whenever any veteran family member, caregiver, or survivor walks by a VA facility, we want them to see themselves in the mission statement on the outside of the building.
Many of the innovations in healthcare we take for granted today started through the VA. Pioneering treatments, client satisfaction and analysis, and evaluation of effectiveness. The VA was the first electronically integrated healthcare system in the world as a leader in telehealth services, created the first implantable internal pacemaker, and is conducting fascinating research on healthier aging.
As a veteran myself, I know how much the military community values the partnerships that Easterseals maintains with agencies like the VA to deliver high-quality, timely care through the Community Care Network and beyond. These partnerships ensure that veterans are respected and empowered to step outside of their comfort zone, attempt what many think is impossible, and to achieve it. It is our honor to present the Partner Agency Advocate Award to the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. Deputy Secretary Bradshaw could not be with us, but we are honored to have the Undersecretary for Health, Dr. Sharif El-Nahal, to accept the award on behalf of the department. Please join me in welcoming Undersecretary El-Nahal.
Good evening, everyone. I'm honored and grateful to be here to participate in this event and accept this gracious award in recognition of our department, the Department of Veterans Affairs. Unfortunately for all of you, I am not Tanya Bradsher, Deputy Secretary of Veterans Affairs, as listed in the program, but it's still an incredible honor to be here and to, I'm sure, the awesome individual managing the teleprompter. I'm going to be doing something I typically do at these events and not reading off of it. So thank you in advance for tolerating that. I met two veterans that speak to why we work so closely with Easterseals on serving people with disabilities, people who wore the cloth of our country and defended our freedom. And I had a chance to meet two veterans at our annual Winter Sports Clinic, which we hold in Snowmass, Colorado every year. And at that event, we give some veterans for the first time, other veterans for the 10th, 11th, 12th time, the opportunity to engage in winter sports like sit skiing and other activities that allow them to do what they've always loved to do or something entirely new. And the two veterans I met embodied what might sound like a cliche, but really spoke to me when I met them, the old adage that disability does not mean inability. One choice that we have when we recognize our own weaknesses or injuries or whatever we're contending with is to shy away from what we could possibly do. Another choice is to try anyway and try harder and harder and to surround yourself with people who can empower you to do even better and to do even more. And these two veterans embodied that spirit. Robert Morris and Corinne Woodworth both have service-connected disabilities. Robert is an Army veteran who suffered from a C5, C6 spinal cord injury after a motor vehicle accident 41 years ago. He had some tough times with his recovery and therapy, but decided that he wouldn't let his disability prevent himself from doing the things that he loved. With hard work, he became an active adaptive sports athlete, including air rifling, bowling, power soccer, and more. 3 years ago, he joined the Winter Sports Clinic for the first time and took up sit skiing. He's also a peer mentor to veterans with spinal cord injury, including in adaptive sports, for many years. He also manages to serve as the Paralyzed Veterans of America Treasurer for the state of Ohio. Corinne Woodworth carried disabilities after her service in the Army as well, but she decided to pursue a career in nursing anyway, which was always part of her dream. She became an LPN in our community reintegration program and recreation therapy program, also at VA Cleveland, where she had a chance to meet Robert and serve him, as Robert has served so many like him over the years. Robert and Corinne routinely help other veterans make choice number two, tackling their own adversities and perceived weakness with hard work and dedication, but also surrounding themselves with others who can help them get there. No matter what our weaknesses are, personally, professionally, we can all learn a lot from Robert and Corinne, and Easterseals is an incredible partner with the VA in helping more and more stories like that emerge every single day. Thank you so much. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of the agency. Thank you.
Please welcome Easterseals DC, Maryland, and Virginia honorary board member and three-time Super Bowl champion, Charles Mann.
Good evening, everyone. Now let's see if I can read the prompter. All right. Though I didn't grow up in the area, I've called Washington, D.C. my home since 1983. Remember those good old days, guys? We didn't know how good we had it, did we? Every time my wife was pregnant with a child, we won a Super Bowl. So, why isn't your wife pregnant? Well, take an act of God at this point. But it's here that I raised my family, I started businesses, and I've been involved in a number of charitable and civic organizations. It's that perspective that makes me appreciate Easterseals and the fact that I work and I'm a proud member of the board of directors, honorary board of directors. With John, you know, he wanted more from me. I gave him what I had, and that's been great. I've loved it. I've loved seeing the impact we make together in the adopted hometown. And I don't really call this my adopted hometown. I'm actually 63 years old, and I've been here for 40 of those years. So is this my adopted home? No, this is my home. Yeah, this is my home. My friends and family are here. Daryl Green, they just retired his jersey. Daryl Green and I came in 1983. He ran down Dorset, and I ran around the bathroom a couple of times because I was nervous. But anyway, no, I've raised my family. This is my home. This really is my home. Easterseals has provided for friends and family members. Even my own family members have gone through stuff. I have a brother who struggled to find and retain meaningful employment. And it's through the efforts, these important efforts, such as Veteran Staffing Network and Homeless Veteran Reintegration Program can be for somebody that's struggling with new work. By the way, that brother of mine now is an MEP contractor. That's a mechanical, electrical, and plumbing contractor, and has been working faithfully with one job for over 10 years now. So he's figured it out. Over the past year, Easterseals served 2,000 veterans and military families with its vital programs. It's also seen the advantages my children have had because I could send them to great schools, so I appreciate high-quality early education. Now I've got a 2-year-old grandbaby. Yes, and she is at Bambini, which is a local community, I don't know what they're called, nursery. It's not an actual school, but they manage her all day long. She's also now learning Spanish in there, so it's bilingual. So it's fantastic. It's been great. So early Head Start programs give young children a chance to get off on the right start and enables parents to work. Last year alone, nearly 1,200 children and their families experienced that boost. But the most powerful reminders about why Easterseals is such a force for good in the real stories of families and individuals who live and have been changed by Easterseals. Like the parents who wrote to us through happy tears after Bright Stars night at the circus, after noticing that most of the performers had disabilities, their son said, even with disabilities, they can do as much as any other people, which means so can I, even with my disability. Or a sister of a client with Down syndrome who wrote to Easterseals Adult Day Services saying, the staff treats my sister with love and respect she deserves. Now, I want to introduce you to Aretha. Not too long ago, she had everything: successful military service, followed by a career in teaching and a loving family. Then, in a matter of months, her career and her family situation shattered, and in Aretha's words, she had to recreate herself. But she didn't do it alone. Easterseals was there to support her journey of discovery. Let's take a look.
It's a journey, and I don't think I would change anything, even the bad, because I think it makes it me who I am. I was in the military I was active duty almost 6 years. I was a 71 Lima, so it was clerical. And then after my kids were ready for school, I went back to work and became a K-5 teacher. So I was making about $70,000, a little more than $70,000 a year. I have a master's degree. I earned that in 2005. And I was also working toward earning my Juris Doctorate at the time. And then all of a sudden, it just changed, and I didn't have the job security. And I was, always worried about not having that job because I had to support myself. So in the midst of it, I lost my marriage. My ex-husband attacked me. He went to jail. So there was a lot of trauma that I was going through. So it was unexpected. And so my mother got cancer, and she was gone within less than six months. There was a period of time that was pretty rough, and where I didn't know what I was gonna do next. And financially, for the first time, I didn't have the means to do the things I could, like to help my kids. It was very difficult not being able to take care of myself. And it was the first time in my life that I was in that position, and I had to ask for help. And that was the most difficult thing for me, and I think for most women and women veterans, we are always trying not to show that kind of weakness and show that we deserve to be wherever we are. And so for me, I was pretty much very depressed. There were times when I felt like I wasn't gonna be able to pay just not my rent, but just the utilities. It was a big change financially, going from the $70,000 down to just my disability. I was afraid that I may have to live, maybe not my car, because I didn't know if I was gonna have my car, but definitely that I was gonna lose the place that I was staying. I just felt like there was a death with my marriage, there was a death with my mom, there was a death with my job, and I just found myself in a position where I didn't know what I was going to do. What I had to think, I had to recreate myself. I was put in touch with Kathy at Easterseals, and I think that was a big turning point for me. She encouraged me to tweak my resume, to take some of those courses about going back out there and interviewing, because it had been 13 years. I will always be grateful for those conversations, even the emails and the texts, because they said, I'm thinking about you and I haven't forgotten you, and you're gonna be okay. Kathy could understand me as a woman veteran, and then she could understand where I have been too for some of my trauma. When I contacted Easterseals and told them that I had gotten this job offer, and she immediately said, well, I'm gonna meet you and take you shopping because you're gonna need new clothes. So I was able to get clothes, I was able to get shoes for work, and then also some gas cards to get me started with getting back and forth to work. I am really happy to be where I am right now, teaching back in the school with students, and I love it. I think it gives me that purpose. I think this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm extremely optimistic about the future. The future is very bright.
Good evening. I'm Craig Rupert, the founder of the Rupert Companies, and it's my pleasure to speak to you tonight and share why I will always be a champion of Easterseals. I was just behind stage there with Mark and Susan, who are best friends. It's nice to see they're best friends. My sister Colleen was the youngest in our family of 8. She passed away 2 years ago. As a baby, Colleen was diagnosed with Down syndrome. In 1960, many doctors and educators didn't believe children with Downs could live a full and productive life. But my mother wouldn't listen. She didn't agree with the conventional wisdom of the time. She looked everywhere for help for Colleen, finally founding the Easterseals Montessori program, which was tailored to children with disabilities. With them, my family found a partner that believed in Colleen. It's that support that empowered her throughout her life. Colleen had a 30-year career at the government printing office. During that time, she also became a national speaker on behalf of those with developmental disabilities. She had a great sense of humor. She was loved by everyone, and she was fun to be around. After she retired, Colleen volunteered for another 8 years at the Easterseals Intergenerational Center in Silver Spring, helping the young and the old to just simply smile and laugh more often. My family is grateful to Easterseals for their support of Colleen, which enabled her and others like her to reach their full potential. Of course, along with private philanthropy, support from government leaders helps to ensure that Easterseals can have a life-changing impact on families like mine. And on this 20th anniversary of this event, we're honoring 2 elected officials whose leadership and public service over the past 2 decades has advanced the Easterseals mission. They really need no introduction, but let me tell you just a little about Senator Susan Collins and Senator Mark Warner. Since being elected in 1996, Senator Collins has earned a reputation as someone who gets things done. From introducing and helping pass the 21st Century Assistive Technology Act, which expands access to affordable technology, which then assists older Americans and individuals with disabilities, to leading the bipartisan charge to expand tax credits for family caregivers, to steering bipartisan passage of the Protecting Moms Who Served Act and other legislation to provide more women who are veterans with access to maternal care. Senator Collins has been a tireless champion of people with disabilities, veterans, military families, as well as low-income families all across America. I'm glad you're here to receive this award. Let me talk a minute about Senator Warner. He was first elected to the Senate, as most of us know, after 4 years as governor of Virginia. And whether it's introducing bipartisan legislation to expand support for caregivers or service members or veterans, or supporting mental health and housing needs of veterans and military families, or expanding access to early childhood education as both governor and senator, or helping Virginians with disabilities access affordable housing. Mark Warner has been a leader of Easterseals priorities throughout his career in public service. Both of them have supported legislation that ensures people like Colleen, who have pre-existing conditions, aren't denied insurance. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce tonight's 2 Legislative Advocate Awards recipients, Senator Susan Collins and Senator Mark Warner.
Thank you so much, Craig and Easterseals. I am deeply grateful for this recognition. It's an honor, particularly to join my fellow awardee, my dear friend, and he really is my dear friend. That's not just Washington speak, Senator Mark Warner. I also want to thank all of the awardees for their leadership in advancing the vital Easterseals mission. We have but one life. We get nothing out of that life except by putting something into it. Those words by Easterseals founder Edgar Allan define the spirit that brings us all together this evening. It has been more than a century since that Ohio businessman lost his son in a tragic accident. But rather than wallow in despair, Mr. Allen responded with a commitment to relieve suffering. He built a children's hospital in his hometown and launched a movement to help the unfortunate that now spans the nation. 90 years ago this spring, the first Easterseals campaign was launched with the lily symbolizing rebirth. Today, with the help of generous donors and an army of volunteers, this outstanding organization continues to offer hope and opportunity to more than 1.5 million Americans living with disabilities, from children to older adults. This focus on services for veterans and their families and caregivers is invaluable in helping these brave patriots. Easterseals remains a strong voice for individuals with disabilities or special needs, and I also greatly appreciate their effective advocacy for legislation that I've co-authored to support caregivers, older adults, and individuals with Alzheimer's. And indeed, Mark and I chair the Alzheimer's Task Force in the United States Senate. I'm so impressed by the way that Easterseals identifies and illuminates specific causes, from enhancing health services to enriching education to expanding employment opportunities. For example, just last month, Easterseals published a study describing how companies can help veterans with disabilities thrive in their workplace. This incredibly valuable research literally changes lives. This 90th anniversary of the first Easterseals campaign is a great time to celebrate a tradition of generous, caring people coming together to ensure that children and adults with disabilities, our veterans, our older adults, have the services and resources they need to live, learn, work, and enjoy their communities. And I must tell you, as a daughter of a World War II veteran who was wounded twice in the Battle of the Bulge at just age 19 and earned 2 Purple Hearts and a Bronze Star, that the work you do for our veterans is particularly meaningful to me. Thank you all for supporting this wonderful cause. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Susan. Let me also echo and salute all of you who have been involved in Easterseals. But let me take a moment and also celebrate who's part of tonight. You know, Charles Mann spoke earlier. He has been such a part of this community. Our kids went to school together. We are proud to call him part of the overall DMV. And what a good man, and someone who is a great representative of, absolutely, of Easterseals. Let me also acknowledge my friend Craig Rupert, because we both belong to an organization many years ago called YPO, Young Presidents Organization. And when Craig and I were both young,
Yeah, that's true.
he got me into the organization, and I am grateful for that. And Craig and his family have, not just through Easterseals, but have continuously give back in so many ways. And now let me share a moment, though, that says, I'm the chairman of the Intelligence Committee. And this is kind of gets into classified information, so if I tell you the whole story, I'd have to kill you all. But let me give you a piece of information that probably most of you don't realize. Because I know, and I'm going to speak for Susan here in a moment as well, that for many of you, and I get this, when the national news comes on, more often than not, you probably want to throw a shoe at the TV. We feel the same way. And we're both inside the TV. But let me tell you, we both work. And I am, anytime that I'm on the same stage with Susan Collins, who in so many ways, and I'm, great to be her wingman on Alzheimer's, so many of the things we work together on veterans. But the truth is, we both work kind of weirdly in a place, the only place in America where being a gang member is a good thing. Because every time there is a bipartisan gang, and whether that was the infrastructure bill or the CHIPS bill or the leadership she took on the Electoral Count Act or recent actions on Ukraine or aid for Israel and aid for humanitarian issues, and frankly, even on things like TikTok, we are together. And the truth is, there are more people that work in our business that actually like each other more than anyone acknowledges. And what I would say, and I think we need to support that. And my appeal, if we're going to make sure that everyone, regardless of disability, that we treat our veterans and their families with respect, the only appeal I would make to all of you as involved citizens in our community and involved citizens in our nation, hire people, I don't care which political party, but hire people that know how to get to yes. Hire people that know that at the end of the day, unless our government functions, if we're only against things, that's the easiest thing. There are so many people we work with that can tell you, cite chapter and verse of what they're against. But if we can get things done, we live in the greatest country in the world. We live in an incredibly, powerful community here in the DMV. And I can say without any hesitation of being contradicted, there is no member of the United States Senate that is more about getting things done in a way that's forward-leaning for our country than Susan Collins. And if you really ask us, because as gang members, maybe if you give us another glass of wine, we will both show our gang tattoos that we've got up and down our sleeves. So thank you, Easterseals, for this recognition. Thank you for what you do. And don't throw the shoe at the TV. God bless.
All right, I'm going to leave my script behind and just comment. I've known Mark for a long time, and I knew him before he got in public service. And he was successful as a father, as a business person. He's a solid guy, straightforward, honest, direct, and it changed my view of our political leaders. Because I know Mark, I know Susan's very similar to Mark, and I think I've just got a lot of respect for those that we elect that help us run this country, and they deserve more credit than they get. Anyway, thanks for letting me share that. We're at time for dinner, right? But before we break for dinner, I'd like to remind us that you can support Easterseals. and have a big impact on the work we do in the region. We're on our way to the $1 million. We're over 890,000, and I think it's going up. But we need your help to get to $1 million. Please find that QR code on the program or on the card on the table and help us fund the need. Thank you very much, and enjoy dinner. Thank you.
Please direct your attention to the video screens.
Kenny's first days with Easterseals were just ecstatic. How do you like the new I love it. I love this program. I just love it. I had no idea how broad a spectrum of service they provided. It takes more than a village, and here they are. You know, they're helping all these people, and they were just so supportive, so wonderfully supportive.
Good evening, and thank you to Chef Robert Irvine for that wonderful dinner. I'm Mary Brady, the President and CEO of the Economic Club of Washington, D.C., and I'm so proud to stand here before you as Vice Chair of tonight's event, and one of the great parts of that role is working with an amazing committee. And the committee members, please stand to be recognized. Just a few quick remarks to let you know how I got involved with Easterseals. About a decade ago, I attended my first Advocacy Awards as a guest. And I was aware of the Easterseals brand, but I was unaware of the full impact they were having from this remarkable organization and what the impact has been on our region. I was intrigued by what I heard and saw that night, so I welcomed an invitation from our CEO, John Horowitz, to accompany him on a personal tour of the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Intergenerational Center in Silver Spring. It was really awe-inspiring. Seeing firsthand how Easterseals strengthens all stages of life was inspiring, and you heard much of that before dinner today. So since then, I've served as a volunteer, as an advisor to John, and my appreciation has grown so much on the impact of what Easterseals has had on the Washington region. John and the entire Easterseals team are innovative and engaged, and we saw that in some of the awards presentation, and congratulations to Johnny. They're connecting the entire community together, and they understand the unique needs of area businesses and leaders. The business community has resources, but they need to rely on excellent partnerships with high-performing nonprofits like Easterseals to engage the broader community and provide services to the employees and to those in need. Easterseals leadership support for businesses goes well beyond that, including supporting workforce development, needs by expanding employment, access for Americans with disabilities, and innovative programs for the Veteran Staffing Network. I want to share a story. Consider one Navy veteran, competent, in a good-paying job, getting support from the Cohen Clinic. When he lost his job, his counselor referred him to the Veteran Staffing Network, where an Easterseals career coach helped him develop the confidence to find a new position and negotiate a salary $20,000 higher than his initial offer. He's now happily employed at that Fortune 500 company rather than being underemployed, and as so many of our veterans are. He said, and I quote, the Easterseals services to the Veteran Staffing Network exceeded his expectations. The same is true for the business community, and for me personally, the Easterseals has consistently exceeded expectations. So to all of you just learning about all the great things that Easterseals does in this region, please join us, help Easterseals continue to grow and exceed those expectations. Now I'd like to introduce David Rubenstein, the co-founder and co-chairman of the Carlisle Group. He's a native from Baltimore, an original signer of the Giving Pledge. We know him as a steward of our region through his care and preservation of our national treasures, represented in the coined phrase patriotic philanthropy. He's chairman of the Kennedy Center and so much more, and he asked me to be a little bit more brief, so I'll just say that he's also the new owner of the Baltimore Orioles. Enough said there. David he's truly an inspiration to me and many of the corporations here in Washington, D.C., so with that, I'm going to allow him to be even further more inspirational to us in filling the need for Easterseals. David?
Thank you. So, how many people here have never been to an Easterseals event before? Okay. How many people have been at least 5 times, 10 times, 20 times? Wow. How many people have been here 25 times? Okay. How many people here have had dinner in this train station before? How many people didn't know you could have dinner in this train station? Okay. To be honest, I didn't know it either. For my firm, a number of years ago, 20-some years ago, I picked this as a site. The person told me this is a great place to have an event. I thought I'd be having people going back and forth, catching trains in the middle of it, but no, they wall it off. And my guest speaker that evening was George Herbert Walker Bush, who had been President of the United States. And the night was September the 10th, 2001. And the next day, obviously, tragedy struck our country. How many people here remember exactly where they were on a 9/11? So, well, I remember exactly where I was at that time, and I remember watching it. We had a conference, and I couldn't believe it. I'm sure none of you could either. And that was one of the most tragic days in our country's history, but also it was a day that showed the country knew how to pull together in a time of crisis. And what happened was that people all over the country turned out to volunteer. They wanted to help their neighbors. And our country got more united in that day than probably any other time before then or since then. And it showed the power of spirit in this country for giving back to others, helping others, and volunteerism. When de Tocqueville came to this country in the 1830s to write about the United States, he came over from France, he said he had a hard time getting anybody to talk to him because everybody was busy volunteering. They just were volunteering for this and volunteering for that. And the reason was our country was not a wealthy country then, and to get philanthropic things done, you had to volunteer. There wasn't a wealthy government that paid for everything. So we began the tradition in this country of volunteering and helping others. And that tradition continues today, and our country by far is the most philanthropic country in the world by almost any measurement. And a large part of philanthropy is volunteering. Now, philanthropy is derived from an ancient Greek word that means loving humanity. It doesn't mean rich people writing checks. Obviously, that's nice too, but philanthropy is most valuable when you can also, in addition to giving financial support, give your time. That's the most valuable thing you have is your time. You can't make more of it. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. And so all of you who have volunteered for this cause or any cause, no doubt feel that you're doing something good for the country, and you are. And so I hope all of you will see yourselves as a role model for your own children. So when you volunteer, your children are more likely to volunteer, and their children are more likely to volunteer, and so forth. And we can continue the tradition of volunteering and the tradition of helping other people who need it. All of us who are in this room are probably reasonably prosperous, reasonably successful, and reasonably happy with life. But there are many people in this country and around the world, but certainly in this country and this community, who are not as fortunate as we are. So all of us should thank every day that we're fortunate enough to be able to come to a dinner like this and fortunate enough to be able to support Easterseals, which is a unique institution and doing so many wonderful things. And let me tell you a story about somebody who we're in effect going to mention tonight who did so many wonderful things. I was born in 1949. Anybody else older than me here? No. Okay. So in 1949, a young woman named Judy Heumann contracted polio. And if any of you remember that era, polio was, if not a deadly disease, it could cripple you for life. Some people managed to overcome it, and some people never overcame it. Senator Mitch McConnell had polio, obviously overcame it in many ways, but many people weren't so lucky. The traditional way you help get people out of polio or dealt with it was to put them in what's called an iron lung, where it was a big contraption and you had people go into it, lie down there, and basically live in it and help you breathe. One of our presidents of the United States had polio, and had he had better medical treatment, he would not probably have suffered the worst consequences of polio, and that was Franklin Roosevelt. This woman, Judy Heumann, contracted polio in 1949, and she eventually got out of the iron lung, but she was forced to live in a wheelchair the rest of her life. And when she went to grade school, her teacher said, well, you can't come with the other students because you are in something that's a fire trap, a wheelchair. And other children might be hurt if they have to go out in emergency. So they didn't let her go to school with her other classmates at that time. Eventually they did, but eventually she realized what many other Americans came to realize, is that the United States did not have in that time, in 1950s or so, a policy that treated all Americans with disabilities or no disabilities the same. Fortunately, we have the ADA now, but we didn't have it for so much of the lifetime of all of us. But it took a lot of people to fight for that and to fight for the rights for people who have disabilities to be treated with equality and with respect. Judy Heumann was one of the people that did that. She was the mother of people, people who fought for disabilities. And she, in her lifetime in the United States and in Washington area, she did more than any other person to make certain that people with disabilities are treated equally, but also they get support and they have volunteers to help them. And she did that throughout her entire life. Sadly, she passed away about a year ago. But to honor her, the Easterseals have named its Volunteer Advocacy Award in her honor, Judy Heumann Volunteer Advocacy Award. And tonight, it's my honor to present it to somebody I know. Let me tell you about her. Her name is Candy Wolf, and Candy Wolf is somebody I've gotten to know through the Economic Club of Washington. Mary has been the president for 30 years or so. I've been the chair for a while and worked closely with her and with people on the board, and Candy has been on the board for quite some time. Candy's real name is not Candy, it is Candida. But Candy, I guess, is a nice short word. Wolf is a complicated second name because Candy is a name, everybody loves candy, right? How can you not love candy? You can't say you might not like wolves as much, but everybody loves candy. Now, you've heard the expression, nobody doesn't like Sara Lee. Well, nobody doesn't like Candy Wolf because she volunteers. She's given an enormous amount of her time to this organization and other organizations. She's a native of Connecticut, went to Mount Holyoke and George Washington Law School, and then she worked on Capitol Hill, worked in the White House for President George W. Bush, and now she's the head of the global organization, Global Advocacy for Citicorp, but working out of the Washington office. And she's done an incredible job for Citicorp, but also an incredible job advocating for people who have a problem that many of us are probably going to have at some point. As you get older, people look at you differently. Some of you may have noticed this. I've noticed it increasingly. It used to be that, if you were 65, people thought you were ready to retire. Now it's 85 or something. You can be President of the United States and be 80-some years old. But there's no doubt that some people who couldn't be President of the United States in their 80s are different than people that sometimes have health care, mental or physical problems in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and need help. They may need to be institutionalized. They may need to find ways to live in society. And all of us will no doubt have members of our family who at some point are, as they age, need special treatment. And what we want to do with these people is to make them feel as honored and respected as possible as they age. And I hope that'll happen to me as I get older, so that my children won't say, well, let's put him in a nursing home because he can't do what he used to be able to do. I suspect my children may do that. But I really am proud that Candy is a person who has advocated for people, among other things, that people should be given respect and honor as they age, and if they don't need to go to a nursing home or an equivalent facility, they can live in the community and actually get the kind of help they need, but not having to be institutionalized. And so all of us should respect somebody who does that. Candy has done a spectacular job of that. She's here with her husband, she's been married to for 29 years, almost 30 years, and she has 2 daughters, both of whom are very proud of her and no doubt would like to have been here tonight, but they're in Colorado. But I would like all of you to give your expression of appreciation for what Candy Wolf has done for the people she's advocated for Easterseals, and for our larger Washington community. So it's my pleasure to introduce Candy Wolf.
Well, thank you, David, for your very kind and nice remarks. It's been a pleasure working with David at the Economic Club and with Mary and team. And thank you all of my friends from Easterseals, for bestowing on me this great honor. It's hard to believe that it's been more than a decade since I began serving on the board of Easterseals, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. But I'm proud of the small role that I've played in the organization that makes such a big impact on so many lives. I was introduced to Easterseals through Dave Hoppy, who's somewhere down here in the lights that I can't see over here, who's a longtime disability advocate and a former chief of staff to Senate Majority Trent Lott, among many other roles. His passion and his support of Easterseals was contagious, and he encouraged me to join the Advocacy Dinner Committee, where we were able to double the funding, and it's taken off since then, as we can see from tonight. And thank you all for your support. When I first started, I had a chance to meet Easterseals staff, John Horowitz, who's infamous, as we know, and to see the Intergenerational Center in Silver Spring in action. I was also able to help grow the military and veteran services programs that were just getting started through the advocacy dinner efforts that we were really kicking off about 10 plus years ago. And what motivated me at the time were all of the veterans that were returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, and having worked for President Bush, as you saw, and it was very kind of him to make remarks. But veterans coming back having served needed the support, and Easterseals was able to provide that, and want to thank all of you again for your support of those efforts. City has had a strong veterans network and an emphasis on job placement for veterans, and I saw the opportunity to get more active on this issue in the Mid-Atlantic. 10 years later, I still feel fortunate to be involved with this great organization. Receiving any recognition from Easterseals would be an honor, but to receive the honor that now helps to carry forward the legacy of Judy Heumann is even more special. I didn't have the pleasure of knowing Judy personally, but what I know about her, the mother of the disability rights movement, was a woman after my own heart. I share Judy's passion for advocacy and for moving people and policy to action. Judy understood that progress is not always linear, and no battle worth fighting comes easy. And she also knew that one person does not make a movement, or as former Speaker John Boehner liked to say, a leader without followers is simply a man or a woman taking a walk. In my role leading government affairs at City, it's my job to build coalitions and advance public policy that allows City to execute on its mission of enabling growth and economic progress. City's a firm that understands and emphasizes the need for inclusive progress, that contemplates all stakeholders, including members of our veterans and disabled communities that are an integral part of our community and our company. Veterans are highly valued members of our diverse culture, and they bring a unique skill set, ground in character, that includes resourcefulness, teamwork, follow-through, and calm under pressure. City Salutes is our employee inclusion network that promotes the recruitment, the retention, the engagement, and the empowerment of veterans and military talent, including spouses at City. The network includes close to 4,000 City colleagues in 17 chapters across the US and the UK. We have been recognized as the best place to work for disability inclusion by the Disability Equality Index, and through the City Foundation, we're also working with our broader community to partner with organizations such as Easterseals to help people with disabilities build financial assets and gain access to banking services. So while I'm humbled to receive this award, I accept it on behalf of City, my City colleagues, and the work we do as a bank, where growth and success go hand in hand with that of our broader community. Thank you to Easterseals for this honor and for all the work that you do in this region that I'm proud to call home. And thank you to the Human family for allowing Judy's great legacy to live on through this award. It is a tremendous honor to see my name next to hers. Thank you.
Please direct your attention to the video screens.
As an Air Force family, we know firsthand the power of a well-supported team. You know, I'm a Spider-Man fan, and I'm often reminded that with great power comes great responsibility.
As a company, it's really important for us to give back to the communities where we live and work.
Leaders need to see that, recognize it, and be there to help those families who want to get further their education, or they have a child that needs some special attention or care.
It's just something more than just monetary. I'm really proud to be able to work for a company that goes out of its way to help its employees and their children.
The Easterseals organization takes their responsibilities to heart, bringing their power to enrich the lives and expand opportunities for children and adults across our communities. Easterseals empowers our families to ensure all can reach their full potential.
The HII Scholarship Fund has awarded over 1,100 scholarships to over 600 dependents of HII employees.
My dream job is to go into the military and become a fighter pilot. This scholarship has helped me a lot, and people as well, by giving their time and volunteering to help me.
Our communities are the foundation of what makes service to our nation so rewarding. As such, it is support from advocates like Easterseals that allows our families with special needs to be seen, valued, and connected.
HII enjoys a very strong contribution from veterans to our workforce. We are a diverse workforce. We come from many different places, different backgrounds, different experiences, and we're a better company when everybody feels like they have a place at the table.
It's a reward to see the company do so much for the community and others, but also be able to take part in it yourself.
Every soldier, sailor, airman, and Marines and Coast Guardsman that we send into harm's way to do the nation's business has got to be properly organized, trained, equipped, and well led, courageously led. And when they come home from doing the nation's business, they come home to their family who we have taken care of while they're gone. Easterseals helps us perform our sacred duty. And so, thank you to Easterseals for taking care of our families.
Good evening and thank you. General Brown, General Raymond, Admiral Grady, Mr. Rubenstein, Senator Collins, Senator Warner, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be with you tonight. May I ask all active duty military personnel and veterans to please stand and be recognized. Thank you all for your service. I'm immensely proud to be here tonight to represent HII, our CEO, Chris Kastner, and the 44,000 shipbuilders and technologists who support our warfighters across all services and in all domains. As you could see from the video, HII's partnership with Easterseals is an extension of our values. So much so, partnerships like this fall within our sustainability strategy, which I am proud to lead as Chief Sustainability Officer. At HII, we believe that by taking steps to anticipate and address the needs of our critical stakeholders, our communities, customers, employees, and the places where they live, we nurture the trusted relationships on which HII's future success depends. I am honored to be here to support your service and to support the mission of this magnificent organization, Easterseals, which has dedicated itself to the needs of our families and our communities since 1919. What those who serve know in their bones is how much peace of mind this support for our families means to us while we are away from them. When we learn that our spouses and our kids have what they need and that they're okay, this is food for our hearts and our minds and our bodies. It fuels our commitment to service. I have a memory, one that is etched deep in my mind, from when I was a young military intelligence officer in the Army's 10th Mountain Division. This was before the internet, before Gmail. The most anticipated time of the day was mail call. I will never forget the brightening of men's faces when their names were called because they had received a letter from family, a note from home, some connection to their home. And then I distinctly remember how heads would drop when the NCO would reach the bottom of the bag and their name had not been called that day. Maybe tomorrow, they'd say as they walked away. They'd grab their rucksacks, grab their weapons, and move on. Word from home was everything. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin once said that success in defending the nation and maintaining readiness are inextricably linked. I would submit to you that readiness as a national priority extends to our families and to the communities that support our military as well. When kids are ready for school, veterans are ready to transition to work, our older loved ones are helped and ready, even for just one day. Family readiness and resilience are essential to military service, and I would say to our national defense. Admiral Grady and his wife, Christine, are champions of this support. They travel the bases around the world. They check in on troops. They check in on their families. Christine listens to the challenges spouses face while their loved ones are on tour. The Gradys have a family motto: family first, always. They exemplify this motto when it comes to serving military families, and they work tirelessly to do just that. On behalf of HII, our partnership with Easterseals, And as a veteran myself, I truly thank you, Admiral Grady, for all you do to promote family readiness and resilience, and to make sure our military families are seen and supported. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present the Military Family Advocate Award to the 12th Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, U.S. Navy Admiral Christopher Grady, and his wife, Mrs. Christine Grady.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you, Paul, for those kind words. It indeed is an honor, and Christine and I stand here with great humility, to be here among so many who have demonstrated unyielding commitment to empowering our joint force and their families. This forum holds a special place in our hearts because it symbolizes the collective efforts of organizations dedicated to including individuals, empowering families, and strengthening communities. We are honored to accept this award on behalf of the 2.1 million members standing watch around the globe. This award is testament to the collective dedication of countless military families throughout our great nation. I want to thank and express my deepest gratitude for Easterseals for this recognition, and much more importantly, for your exceptional work in our communities. Your unwavering commitment to supporting military families through the toughest of times is nothing short of remarkable. Your programs and initiatives have touched countless lives, providing vital resources and a sense of community to those who need it most. As I have said for many years, and I know to be true from my own experience, family readiness directly contributes to operational readiness, that a stronger family means a stronger force. Indeed, the critical work of Easterseals makes our joint force stronger so that we can meet our nation's call, knowing that our families are well cared for. In this, let me acknowledge my extraordinary partner, my wife, Christine. Of course, behind every service member, there is a pillar of strength, of resilience, and of unwavering support. Throughout my 41-year career, she has been my foundation, my confidant, and my source of information. And so, like so many other spouses and family members that have a loved one in uniform, her selflessness, her dedication to our family and the larger military community embody the true spirit of service. I have the privilege of serving alongside some of our most dedicated and selfless people that our country has to offer. But it is often the family members standing at our side that bear the weight of the sacrifice and the uncertainty of military service.
Thank you. When I reflect on our journey as a military family, I need to thank my husband, Chris, because he started us on this great path that has filled our life together with a greater sense of purpose. So, my husband. His belief in my advocacy on behalf of our military families inspires me every day. I remember the sacrifices and challenges along our path, but also the resilience, strength, and joys that define us. And I always cherish the honor that it is to advocate for what is right for all military families. From multiple deployments to frequent relocations, military families face unique experiences that can often go unnoticed. We and all the military families and all military-connected people and organizations know of them. We thank you all here tonight for recognizing them. Together we strive to mitigate the trials and enhance the goodness. Your action and positive impact is deeply appreciated. And through it all, we stand together. Chris and I, you and your spouses, our military families, and all of our community partners supporting one another with unwavering devotion and love. The theme of this year's awards, including individuals, empowering families, and strengthening communities. It resonates deeply with us, the core values that guide us. It is no surprise that Easterseals leads the way and works tirelessly to foster and strengthen collaborations with the VA, the Defense Health Agency, the DoD's Office of Military Community and Family Policy, the Fisher House, Partners in Promise, the Military Spouse Advocacy Network, and TAPS, many of you who are here tonight, and I am just highlighting a few. John, you truly are the embodiment of meaningful collaboration. In the military community, we understand the importance of ensuring that every service member and their family feel included and empowered. We stand with and alongside selfless organizations like Easterseals to create a strong community that empowers families to overcome the unique challenges they face, like frequent moves, deployments with the stress of separation and world events, spouse employment, child care, EFMP care and support, and food security, empowering all with dignity and respect.
Our military families are the backbone of our joint force. They serve alongside us, often bearing the brunt of absence and the uncertainty that comes with military life. Yet they do so with grace, with courage, and with an indomitable spirit. It is their resilience that animates our own, reminding us of the greater purpose that we serve and the values that we uphold. As we stand here tonight, let us not forget the countless military families who continue to face challenges every day. Let us recommit ourselves to supporting them in any way that we can, whether through advocacy, through outreach, or simply through extending a helping hand. Together, we can ensure that no military family ever feels alone or forgotten, and that they are empowered, that they are supported, and that they are a part of a caring community committed to their well-being and the growth of each other. So thank you to Easterseals. Thank you to President and CEO, Mr. John Horowitz, for your superb leadership of such an impactful organization. We are honored to share this evening with you and with all the other Advocacy Award recipients. Thank you again to Easterseals, and may we continue to stand together in support of our military families today and always. Have a wonderful evening.
Please welcome Easterseals DC, Maryland, and Virginia Emeritus Board Member, Juliet Rizzo.
Thank you. Thank you. Some of you may remember me from last year, and indeed, I'm very pleased to attend the Advocacy Awards again a number of times. There are two things that keep me coming back all these years. First is my appreciation for everyone in this room, for everyone that believes in Easterseals, for Easterseals, the organization, The organization opened doors for me that enabled me to achieve things that people told me were not even possible. As a result, I have a responsibility to return their support, and I happily serve on the Emeritus Board of Easterseals. I see you clapping, go ahead, it's an applause moment. Because Easterseals practices what it preached. I'm not just on the other side of receiving funds. I'm up here asking for those funds. This is one of those actions that I take because I can. And as John said earlier this evening, actions make a difference. If you believe in Easterseals, if you believe in the mission, you have a responsibility tonight to take action like I am too. Because a mission is stagnant unless you put it into action. The second thing that keeps me coming back to advocacy is, quite literally, my caregiver. My caregiver, and I don't just mean one caregiver or two or three, I require round-the-clock care. And I require those people that are here when my caregivers are not. Steve Miller is on the board and here today, and I want Steve to raise his hand or stand up, because Steve Miller on this board practices what he preaches, came and got me today, and was even the one when my caregiver wasn't there who was fixing my hair on the train. It takes everybody to provide the supports that I need. I've got two guests here tonight. My two guests I just met last night. One who is going through some circumstances right now that I thought, my goodness, Easterseals could empower this individual. Another, an individual who believes in supporting people and has compassion. Both of them here tonight, one of them cut my steak. The other one was helping me in the restroom, and the other one was sitting there, both of them trying to help me in the best way possible. I wanted a cocktail like everybody else, but I couldn't turn my hands over to carry it, so they carried it all the way around the room. I need supports every minute of every night. Round-the-clock care. Caregivers are my lifeline. Caregiving is so important to Easterseals, making sure that we have the dollars to support the needs. The dollars to support the needs. I work in the federal government at the highest of levels and ranks. I cannot afford the round-the-clock care that I need to go to work. I have an active lifestyle. I work, I volunteer, I serve on boards. But I can't be a part of any of that in the community without caregivers. Thank goodness Easterseals does what it does to support the caregivers. Please give them a hand. My care, and I just want us all to do the math. My care just recently on a trip cost me $72 an hour for a 12-hour minimum. Some of you knew Judy Heumann, and she was mentioned here earlier tonight. She was my former boss. I was her communications director. And whoever was saying, Judy Heumann, give her a hand. Because for whom, go ahead. She's listening right now. For whom Easterseals renamed, again, as you've heard, the Community Advocate Award. Judy once said, you know, we've made a lot of progress, but we have a lot of work left to do. Amen to that, and I need you to help me do it. Judy was an amazing woman, and I'm really pleased here tonight to introduce another amazing woman. Managing PTSD and other health issues, caring for 5 children, 2 of whom need special attention as well, finding a job and being able to put food on the table. Each of these challenges alone is daunting without the PTSD, with all of them at the same time. This is a story of Sarah E. This is a story, along with her beautiful children, Easterseals is privileged to know. Here is their story. Thank you.
I am not doing good right now, but trying my best. We moved to DC from Austin, Texas. My husband at the time got a government job. He is a veteran. He served for 10.5 years. He went to deployment. He came back and he had PTSD, anxiety, depression. He had seizures. He cannot perform his job anymore. That's why he lost his job. I have 5 kids, 2 with special needs. So at this point, I have a full-time job. I'm going full-time to school, managing the kids also with school needs, and supporting my husband trying to find a job emotionally and physically, because I'm also his caregiver. It was really hard. So going through all that stress also affected my health. I got several diagnoses, and one of them is fibromyalgia. I have to take medication for pain, for migraines. Waking up every morning and thinking, I need to figure this out. I need to take care of the kids. I need to take care of him. I need to find something. I need to find someone to help us. I was looking for help for my husband as well, and reaching to Easterseals happened to be the best thing, because we did Cohen Clinic and the Little Word program and the Respite program as well. So I find out all this new information, and we reached out to the Cohen Clinic for my husband and his mental health. He got to have therapy and also medication management. Little Warriors was helping me with childcare. That made me able to go to work and my husband to look for a job while our son was here. When the kids come here to Easterseals, they love it. They do the respite once a month, and as soon as they get out from here, they're like, when is gonna be the next one?
I look forward to weekend respite. It's the most fun time of my week. The volunteers here are fun and kind. They do lots of fun activities. I wish I can come here every day.
Seeing my kids happy just brings me a lot of joy. It's my battery to keep going.
I got to go to the White House for an Easter egg roll. We ran in laps in front of the White House. Easterseals looks after my whole family.
I feel like Easterseals is a family that just loves me as I am with all the kids. No matter what happens, they're always there to help. I don't feel judged. I don't feel scared to ask for help. And I just feel like whatever I say, they're gonna understand. And I just feel that I belong here with Easterseals. Thank you. Thank you is not enough. No encuentro las palabras para decir cuánta ayuda me ha dado Easterseals y para agradecerles todo lo que han hecho por nosotros.
Please welcome Easterseals President and CEO, Kendra Davenport.
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here with you tonight, even as the 15th speaker you've listened to. I am proud to be here representing all of Easterseals, and many of you might not know that tonight, as the CEO of Easterseals National Office, Easterseals DC, Maryland, and Virginia is my favorite affiliate. But they are one of 70 affiliates. And I won't belabor all they do because so many people who have preceded me on this stage tonight have done such an incredible job telling you about the work we do to support people with disabilities of all ages, with all disabilities, of the work we do to support seniors, and of the work we do to support our veterans and military families. I had the great honor and pleasure of attending this event for the first time last year, and afterward, I asked John if I could speak this year for a few reasons. I took over as CEO of Easterseals National Office 2 years ago and began a listening tour to meet with our affiliates throughout the nation. One of my first stops was Easterseals, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And John Horowitz gave me the tour. And after we finished touring all of the programs and had several good conversations with team members, and John and I had time to talk, he took me upstairs to where the Stephen A. Cohen Military Family Clinic is housed. And it was so quiet. It was a Friday afternoon, a day just like today, a warm, sunny day. And again, it was late in the day, maybe 4 o'clock. And I said to him, "John, is no one here because it's a Friday? And it's so quiet." And he said, "No, Kendra, it's because all of the therapy rooms are in session. They're all full." It was something I'll never forget, because as the daughter of a Navy veteran, 20-year Navy veteran, and the wife of a Coast Guard veteran who served 34 years, the work Easterseals does to support military families and veterans is very, very personal to me. You've heard so many active duty and other people talk tonight about the sacrifices, the selflessness, and yet I don't think most Americans understand the uncertainty someone else mentioned this evening, that military families live with every day. The burden of not knowing if you're going to be uprooted, the constant moves, the deployment separations. Aaron and I, and he's here tonight, we've endured 10 years of deployment separation. Gladly. It's probably why we're still married. And we've uprooted our children, and I've left jobs I loved. And I think, I didn't check with him, but I think I can say with 100% certainty we would do it all over again. Because a life of military service is a life an entire military family commits to. It is not just the person on active duty. And it is incredibly rewarding despite all the challenges. And that's why I personally wanted to ask you tonight to continue supporting Easterseals. This affiliate is incredible, and you've heard so many stories like the one just played for you on the video monitors of the work that's being done. But as Senator Collins mentioned, Easterseals recently commissioned a study entitled Disabled Veterans and Employers, Moving from Surviving to Thriving. And one of the most resonant findings that study uncovered was that the needs of our veterans and military families are evolving. But one thing holds true: the need for greater mental health support is astounding. Even companies that are doing an exceptional job and provide robust mental health programs for their employees, including veterans, state that they're slow to take advantage of those programs because of the stigma that mental health issues still holds. We need to do better as a society to eradicate that stigma. But until we do, Easterseals is there to provide a bridge between the employer and the mental health services our veterans so desperately need. I can tell you, I say with tongue in cheek, we'd do it all over again. Despite the challenges, despite the hardship, despite the uncertainty, despite the many holidays and birthdays and graduations celebrated alone, despite putting up the Christmas tree multiple times over multiple years only to have it fall and my children videotaping it, sending out to the world, my mother did it again. But I can tell you with utter candor, there were many times me, my husband, and our children would have benefited from some mental health counseling. And it wasn't available, wasn't as readily available as it is now. And Easterseals is ensuring that it's more available across the country. I'll talk a little bit more about this, but right now, I'd like you to turn your attention to the screens to watch another video about an inspiring story that Easterseals is making happen.
My husband, Wes, the girl's father, was deployed to Afghanistan, and he suffered a non-battle spinal cord injury, and so he was medevaced home. His weeks were filled with appointments, and we spent a lot of time in the hospital. We were in a good routine, and my husband had started to feel better. He was in a car accident, and the next morning, he woke up and he took his own life. So, our world was turned upside down. I wasn't sure that we were going to be okay for a really long time. I was scared. I thought our world was done as we knew it, and it was. But looking back now, I know that we'll be okay, and I know that Easterseals had played a huge part in that, and they became our family.
Another of the reasons I asked John to speak is because the work we do is so important to me personally around supporting veterans, military families, caregivers. And I wanted to personally ask you to recommit. Many of you have sponsored this event, you've purchased tickets, you've given. I'm going to ask you to dig a little deeper and give again, give more. Help us get to that $1 million mark to ensure that families, that caregivers, that veterans, active duty, can receive the services and supports they need and deserve. It's not just mental health services we provide. It's also daycare. It's care for military dependents. Maybe they have a disability. It's respite care for military spouses. It's employment services to help our veterans make that incredibly difficult transition from active duty to private sector jobs that, as many of the people on this stage have said tonight, jobs that are meaningful, jobs that are fulfilling, jobs that prevent them from being underemployed. Easterseals helps them translate all of the skills they honed while on active duty and parlay those skills into meaningful, fulfilling jobs they can be proud of, as proud as they were to serve our country. So I want to talk a little bit about what your donations can actually do. $50,000 provides 2,000 hours of one-on-one employment counseling for veterans, wounded warriors, and military family members. $25,000 enables a child with disabilities or the child of a wounded warrior to prepare for life, a successful life, at Easterseals Child Development Center for an entire year. $15,000 provides 60 wounded warriors and their spouses with a day of respite while their children enjoy an adventure at Easterseals. $10,000 can help as many as 12 veterans and their family members with therapy and treatment through the Stephen A. Cohen Family Clinic at Easterseals. $5,000 covers a full day of care for 40 people in Easterseals Medical Adult Day Center. If you can't give that much, I ask you to just join me in committing $1,000. If half the people in this room tonight made a $1,000 donation, it'd be $250,000, and it would allow us to provide the services I just described multiple times over. If you can't give $1,000, give what you can. Anything will help. And I know you've given, but I ask that you give again because it means a lot to me, it means a lot to Easterseals, and it will mean a great deal to the veterans, military families, caregivers, military children we exist to serve, in addition to helping all of the people with disabilities we serve as well as our seniors. So now, if you'll indulge me, I'd like you to just turn your attention one more time, in case you needed any more motivation to give, to one more inspirational story. Before we do that, I'd just like to thank all of our veterans, all of our active duty, all of our military spouses, all of our military brats like me, and everyone else in this room, because you came here tonight because you believe in Easterseals, you believe in our mission, you believe in the good we exist to do, and you facilitate it with every dollar you commit. Thank you all.
It has been a little bit of a struggle to come to terms with the fact that his life will always be different. early on, we had doctors tell us, like, we don't know how long James is gonna make it. We'll be lucky if we can get him to 3 years old. And, you know, he's 2.5 and he's thriving, he's doing great.
We just take it one day at a time and get that slow, steady progress towards getting him to walk.
Come on, Jimmy Powers.
Knowing that Easterseals has such an amazing reputation for caring for all people with special needs was just incredibly comforting.
They learned everything about James with us. They were kind of there from the get-go.
And the progress that he's made over the last 2 years is miraculous.
I promise we're really getting close to the end. We'll be brief. So thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, Kendra. I'm Kim Clark-Paxtis with Cohn Resnick, and I'm the chair of Easterseals DC, Maryland, and Virginia Board of Directors. And I find it so gratifying to hear how we are not only a leader in the DC area, but also throughout the larger Easterseals network. And all of us tonight have had the pleasure to see and hear so many mission moments, families, individuals sharing their testimony about Easterseals' impact. This organization literally saves lives of those served, of their caregivers, while providing dignity, respite care, and community for all ages and all stages of life. From an enriching education at the child development centers, to enhancing health and inclusive medical daycare, to supporting military families, mental health and employment, and to enabling everyone to live independently and thrive. Of course, a number of people have played an outsized role in tonight's Advocacy Awards. Please join me on stage. Cedric, Mary, the Raymonds, Chef, please come on stage. I want to say a special thanks to the chairs, honorary chairs, and to Chef Irvine for everything that they have done. As a former chair of this event, I know it takes a village to make it happen. Thank you so much. So we have little tokens of our appreciation. Cedric, thank you so much. Mary? Thank you all. Easterseals demonstrates that it takes the community to make a community and to give everyone a chance to be part of that community. And we want you all to be part of our community. You don't need to do nearly as much of these 5 incredible leaders or our board members, but I do invite you to join me in getting involved with Easterseals in some way, volunteering, donating. Donating especially, the QR codes are still active and our volunteers are circulating to collect the Fund the Need pledge cards. Speaking of donating, earlier tonight we shared our ambitious goal to raise $1 million. We're not quite there, so I could say we can't leave, no dessert until we get there. I know things will continue to come in, but as of the last count, we have exceeded $900,000. We're at $904,925. And I thank you all for helping us meet our goal. We will meet our goal, and for your continued support of Easterseals. It's a life-changing impact on our region. And thankfully, tonight's fun isn't quite over. I know it's getting late, but don't leave yet. Chef Irvine is going to tell us about the next stage.
How's everybody doing? I could have done with this about 3 hours ago. Thank you, and thanks to the chefs and the servers here tonight that created this amazing meal. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's dinner. Can we get a round of applause for the servers and the chefs? Thank you. I'm a passionate believer in the power of food to bring people together, nourishing body, mind, and spirit. That's why I'm honored to continue my support of the Easterseals, DC, Maryland, and Virginia as an honorary board member. Yes, I was there when you were shouting, stand up. I was in the back, standing up, clapping for myself. It's very special to me to serve all of you, to use food to reflect the Easterseals' vision of creating a hopeful, inclusive community where all people achieve their potential and live meaningful lives. As a former Royal Navy cook, and they put chef on this, I say cook, I am humbled to be in a room full of great leaders. I have seen firsthand the dedication of our military service members and understand the distress that deployments and moves impose on their families. That's why I started the Robert Irvine Foundation, to enrich the lives of the military heroes and their families. I have found no better partner. You can clap, it's okay. I have found no better partner than Easterseals, DC, Maryland, Virginia, because the breadth and the quality of their programs are simply amazing. My foundation and I have been able to support monthly respite program, and now, as our focus turns to employment, our veterans staffing network to ensure that veterans and military family members land on great careers. I've been able to visit many of the Easterseals adult day services and actually cook with the participants. Through that, I've seen that no matter what service Easterseals is committed to and their staff, they respect the participants in their programs. So thank you to John, Easterseals, and all the staff for all that you do, and for all of you in attendance for your ongoing support. Now, I'm going to take these. It's a cloth and a little thing. I'm going to make you dessert, and I invite you to all join us outside once we have made $1 million. Enjoy your evening. God bless you all.